Welcome back. This is the Press Club. We were talking about the impacts report and well, what some perceive as the lack of information coming from the National Security Minister, the Prime Minister, and the Director of Public Prosecutions on the case so far. But before we move on, I want to talk about this article that's been carried in the Star and the Voice newspaper by Andrew Matthew, a statement released by Dr. Andrew Matthew, who was
who is Dr. Andrew Matthew?
A candidate, a prospective candidate for the United Workers'
that guy.
Party.
Yeah. The guy who want to run for Central Castle.
Police officers made scapegoats. That's the title of the release. I'm talking about the fact that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force has been the recipient of generous U.S. support for a number of years, but on May 20th to June 6th, Police Commissioner Vernon Francois successfully hosted close to 300 officers. But basically what he's saying is that our involvement in ALBA, which is an old argument being put forward by the United Workers' Party, our involvement in ALBA is responsible for the U.S. decision to impose the Leahy Law on St. Lucia, not as was claimed for the 12 extrajudicial killings, but you make the point that in Jamaica, which is not part of ALBA, there were over 100 killings, 211 killings involving police. All right? And why hasn't the Leahy Law been imposed on Jamaica? Why St. Lucia?
Yeah, well, I have some headaches that come quite often. I have to go and see Dr. what?
Andrew Matthew.
Dr. Matthew. I'd more trust him in
that
those
regard.
things. Yeah, but I did not teach foreign affairs at medical school, and I would only advise Dr. Matthew to consult the opposition leader in Parliament,
who is trained in that, right?
Huh?
She is trained in foreign relations.
Yeah, you know, she's a lecturer in foreign relations,
right.
And she has stated publicly what her position is and why she thinks the United States, what she thinks the United States relationship with Venezuela is, and what she thinks the relationship between St. Lucia and the OECS and Venezuela should be. Dr. Matthew is spinning top in mud there because what he seems to be saying, and you know, if that's the kind of position you want to take, if you want to become an MP and become a minister and in a cabinet, you want to say that the Secretary of State of the United States is a liar when he says that the Leahy Act has been imposed for the reasons that he outlined. He is saying that the United States is lying publicly through its teeth to St. Lucia and the rest of the Caribbean when it says that the sanctions against us are because of the lack of progress on the extrajudicial killings. So I think Dr. Matthew is totally out. If that was the case, then as pointed out, and Jamaica is a member of ALBA and a member of Petro-Caribbean. And if that was the case, Jamaica and every other country where there has reason to believe that there have been extrajudicial killings, the Leahy Act would have been implemented against them. But the United States, whether it's President Obama or President Bush, would not want to go down in history as being accused of or being proven to having taken sanctions against countries because of them choosing what countries to have relationships with. Despite the U.S. quarrel with Venezuela, it is now seeking to go back to bed with Cuba.
Yeah. But it needs to be pointed out, not only is Jamaica involved in Petro-Caribbean, but Portia Simpson has openly admitted that had it not been for Petro-Caribbean, Jamaica's economy would have been a lot worse off.
A lot worse.
Yeah. The Shakadan ruling, inquest into Shakadan Daniel's death in police custody says unlawful killing. That was the ruling handed down by Magistrate Innocent on Friday. Yeah.
I think that briefly on that, I think I listened to what in the reports, what the mother, the parents, the family, mother, father, everybody had to say, and members of the public. And I noted somewhere this morning that the result in this particular inquest has given many people a reason to have faith in the local justice system. Full stop. Next point. Will anybody be charged? Will the police officers who were on duty be charged? What is the next step? Who will be responsible for pursuing those charges? Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. There's also the word asphyxia is something that I think we're going to have to start getting accustomed to, because that is the choice of killing, the killing machine of choice these days. In the case of Chakadan, he died of asphyxia. In the case of the young lady,
Yano East,
was asphyxia. The 59-year-old lady at Cedar Heights, asphyxia. So asphyxia is the issue. But like I said, there's a temporary hip hip hooray in the Chakadan case. Let's see where it goes from here. And if, as I suspect, that case goes to the DPP's office to determine whether cases should be made and whether the police officers on duty at the time should be charged and brought to trial, we could hope, and hope we're not hoping against hope, that that will be done within quick time.
There's an uncanny similarity to a case happening in the States now. I'm sure you're familiar with this young black lady.
Yes, the lady
was pulled over by a police officer.
Who is supposed to have hung herself. And you know, the report, the coroner's report, interestingly, it doesn't say how she died, you know. It says that the manner in which she died does not seem to suggest that she killed herself. Oh, seems to suggest that she killed herself. That, in other words, the marks on her skin and around her neck suggest that she did it herself. And my understanding of a coroner's inquest is not to decide who killed, but how the person died.
And the actual cause of death.
Yeah, the cause of death. But they are saying that all the marks indicate that she could have killed herself. Well, again, it is deciding who killed her.
Speaking of coroner's inquest and forensics and that sort of thing, we had an interesting interview with a young lady, Fernanda Henry, a forensic scientist, yesterday at the presentation to the police department of this forensics kit, trace evidence kit. And she was making the point that perhaps the public, driven by overexposure, I'm just paraphrasing, overexposure to television shows like CSI and NCIS and that sort of thing, have unrealistic expectations of law enforcement in terms of how quickly can solve crimes. Is it influencing, you think, this current expectation of the National Security Minister and the Forensic Lab? Or when you have people like Stephen King yesterday coming out and saying the government needs to be more committed to get the lab open and functioning up to par, is there some kind of legitimacy given to the concerns of the public by statements like that from a pathologist?
Yes, I think that given what the purpose of a forensic lab is and its importance to the fight against crime, it's supposed to have complete revolving doors. You know, not supposed to open. And if, as the minister explained, the reason for its closure is simply to await the results of an audit. I would hate to believe that that is the only reason that the place is kept closed, because for as long as it remains closed, it means that cases requiring its intervention will remain on ice. And considering the history of that unit, it is located in a place that was a female prison. After it was built by one administration, it was ignored by a subsequent one over a period of time. Its location on the waterfront does not lend to the treatment of seawater and sea breeze of scientific equipment. So therefore it means that the entire place ought to, if it's not yet, be completely air conditioned, you know, to keep the sea breeze, salty elements away from machines. But then I was speaking to somebody who is very deeply knowledgeable about forensic issues and is in retirement and often speaks about the issue, and is pointing out that, you know, when the equipment remains unused for a long period of time, even that has to be taken into consideration. So the cost of keeping the unit closed could be more than just the dollars and cents, you know, that can be saved or not be spent. It can have accumulated costs by virtue of the cost of keeping it closed. And how do you assess the cost of the failure of provision of evidence in cases involving substances requiring forensic input to determine whether they are what the police suspect them to be?
Unfortunately, Mr. Busky, we're out of time. There's a lot of other stuff that we could have touched on.
The
Kick 'em Jenny
the staff front page, Rick Wynn. I saw Rick Wynn asking, what was the question?
Who's raining on whose parade?
Yeah, who's raining on whose parade? Well, that one I didn't really get it. I don't know whether the word raining was spelled wrong, where it was R-E-G-I-N-I-N-G, but where was the carnival? And the Star, Rick Wynn's paper is asking, where was the carnival?
Where was the glitter?
When his own Tonight magazine has a carnival. On the front page, folks, there is a carnival.
Glitter,
and if you want to go further, that's Rick Wynn's carnival there. He didn't see that one, but Dave Pascal saw it, you know. Take a look. Tonight magazine. I know persons who won't. Sorry, girls, but
more than words can say.
I don't think it was put there for the girls.
Mr. Busky, thanks for being here. Thank you for watching. We'll be back here next week. This has been the Press Club. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Keep safe. We'll see you back here next week.
That's it.